Nice.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome along to this live stream from the Gibson Live. It's the Gibson Artist Lounge in London, and we're here to celebrate the release of the Karma Effect's new album, Cruel Intentions. And I am here with Henry and Robbie. So welcome along to this live stream. We've got loads of good questions to ask. We've got fan questions. We've got a little acoustic performance coming up. So guys, such an exciting week for you. You've got the new album released. It's looking like it's going to go top 20. You've had the album launch party, and you're getting great reviews from the rock press. So I guess, how are you feeling? Living the rock and roll dream?
I think it's always a little bit of a blur in release week, because you kind of work up to this point and you've got in our case, we've kind of, the whole process has been about 12 months since we recorded it to where we are now. You've got all of that time to prepare, but by the time you actually get there, you're kind of running around doing all of this stuff, and we're a bit like headless chickens at the moment, but it's been really exciting. It's been really good fun, and we're really proud of it, aren't we?
Yeah, it's funny because once you've recorded the album, there's this extended kind of limbo period where we know the album, and you forget that nobody else knows about it. And then when it comes out, we've all got to kind of relearn how to play them again. People are saying, "Oh, I like Raised on Rock and Roll," and you're kind of thinking, "Which one's that again?" But,
how does it go?
But it's really exciting to finally have it out in there, and hearing so many positive reviews and comments, and people commenting on certain parts that we've played, and we don't even remember playing them at the time, so it's new to us as well in an exciting way.
Yeah, it kind of gets a little bit more re-energized around this time, because you sit on it for such a long time, and in some respects you kind of we haven't really been playing them live and stuff like that, so you get to this point and the energy's back there because you feed off what the fans and what the followers and stuff are saying about it. And as you kindly said, the press have really kind of got behind it, and the reviews have been amazing, but also more importantly, just the kind of fan reaction to the music has been top notch, and everybody's loving it, which is just more than we could have asked for, really.
I think the biggest thing as well is seeing what it means to the fans. I don't know if you noticed, a couple of the fans on Friday at our album release show, you could see what it means to them, particularly songs like One More for the Road. I noticed a couple of people get quite emotional during that song, which is such a big thing as a band to see that our music is having that impact on people. And to me that's positive, because for me, growing up as a music fan, I know what it meant to me. So for that new album now to already be having that impact on people, that's why we do it, really.
Yeah, indeed. So off to a fantastic start. Before we do take a deep dive onto the album, I'm just curious to ask how you kind of developed your sound, because it's kind of very Americana, vintage rock and roll. I hear references of Aerosmith, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Black Crowes. Where did this style of music, why did it resonate with you, and how do you feel you've put a British twist on it, or maybe modernised it, or perhaps both?
I think, well, for Rob and I in particular, well, all the guys, I speak for everybody when I say, like, it is the kind of music that we grew up on and that we love. Everything from Led Zeppelin to Humble Pie to the Black Crowes, Aerosmith, as you say. It's bands that they kind of captured our hearts when we were kids. The vibe, the energy, the aesthetic especially. I remember the first time I saw Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. You're just like, they kind of look like they're other life forms from a different planet almost, because they're so quintessentially them and rock and roll and cool. They really kind of capture you, and then obviously, of course, the music, and it's just, they write incredible songs. We've always been really, really into the kind of element that Aerosmith and the Black Crowes had, which has a kind of funky element to it as well. We feel like what the Karma Effect kind of has, and where we kind of sit in the kind of rock and roll sphere at the moment, is that we bring a little bit more groove and sass to things than a kind of hard rock punch. It's a bit more kind of groovy and sassy, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely,
yeah.
I think particularly nowadays you've got to have something a little bit different, and there's nothing wrong with the hard rock and riffs out there, but we always want to have that little twist that makes it recognisably the calmer effect. I think that comes from bands that we've been influenced, listening to the Black Crowes, Aerosmith, Lenny Kravitz, that kind of, but the blues as well. Although it's not prominent in our songs, it's definitely a huge foundation in our music.
Yeah, and I think to add to what you said as well, like, what makes it us is, I wouldn't say necessarily the fact that we're British. We are British, and we try not to necessarily, steer too much into that American kind of thing. We want to be who we are. But we definitely want to kind of take that sound. And what we did with this album in particular is we took what is essentially quite a retro sound, and we did want to make it more modern and more up to date, and that a lot of that comes down to how we chose to record it. Really, a lot of bands are doing this thing where they're going so far down the rabbit hole of making it sound like it's come straight out of like 1972, and we said, well, we know we have all of those elements, but we want to bring that to a more modern day audience, something that, kind of sounds like it's been recorded in 2026. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into the new album now, Cruel Intentions. And was there a specific starting point, reference point, or vision that set the ball rolling for the new songs?
We kind of came out of the last album cycle, and I always go to Rob and I'm like, right, I'm going to start sitting down, I'm going to start working on some new songs now. I am pretty prolific in how I write, and when I get into it I kind of can't stop. I feel like the vibe of this record is sonically a little bit heavier. The last album was a little bit more kind of glitzy and glammy, and I feel like we wanted to kind of have a little bit more of a harder edge to these songs while still having that signature kind of calmer effect sort of sound that we're known for. And I think what ended up happening was the kind of themes lyrically are a little bit darker in places. It kind of, we kind of venture into like lust and like love, and then obviously loads of other themes, but also we pride ourselves on not taking ourselves too seriously. I think that's really important, and we believe that rock and roll should be feel good, and that's the kind of rock and roll that I like listening to, and that's kind of what it was. What do you think? Is that?
Yeah, I think for me, the album that kind of the song that sets the tone on this album is the title track. It's got that real. It's dark, but without being dark, if you know what I mean. It's got that kind of moody. How do I say? It sets a.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a different sort of style of song, isn't it? Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, even with the extended outro, it's not something we've done before. We ventured down kind of a different route with that.
Yeah.
Even when you came to me first of all with it sounded different, and then we just took it and went with it, and it went down this.
There was definitely a moment when, with a few of the songs on this record where I'd take them to the guys and I'd say, I'm not sure if this is going to work, because to me it sounds too different. But what you forget in those moments is that you forget that when the band play together, it almost immediately becomes your sound, because it's your band playing your song. So, there are some kind of stylistically different things on this record, but also they kind of encapsulate the calmer effect sound at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Well,
that kind of leads nicely on to the next question, because for this album, you had a new lineup prior to the recording, and I was just curious, did the new members kind of bring new perspectives and new kind of ideas and angles?
Absolutely. The big thing that is noticeable for me is just the kind of strength, especially in the rhythm section that we've got. Alan Taylor brings a ferocious energy behind the drums, and I was obviously there for all of the recording sessions and watching him track drums. I don't think I've ever seen someone break as many sticks in the studio as he did, you know. And it was just watching his kind of process and how he kind of gets into it, and how he works with Nathan as well, Nathan Keevil. They have a really cool dynamic. Nathan in particular is a fantastic multi-instrumentalist, a fantastic bass player, and also a fantastic backing vocalist, singer as well. So watching him bring his vibe and his fresh ideas was really cool, because the way we kind of work in this band is I will bring the blueprint of a song to the band, and I'll say I've got a song, and sometimes it might kind of almost be finished, sometimes it might not, but the way everybody kind of works on it, and you know, we all kind of throw our kind of, you know, like 2 pence in there, and we kind of get it we kind of get it going.
On that note with Nathan, like, he's particularly brought just a bit more balls to the low end. If you listen to songs like Better Luck Next Time, with those kind of running bass lines that we didn't have before, it's just got a bit more drive to it, this album, I think.
Yeah,
agree?
And absolutely, and obviously I'm not forgetting at all, I'm not forgetting Tom Pitt as well, because, you know, we have been incredibly lucky to find someone. It's very hard in rock and roll to find someone that is a rock and roll keyboard player, keys player, pianist, whatever. You know, he kind of really brings it in his live show, and then his ability in the studio. He was so methodical. I think above all of us, he kind of went away and almost studied the songs and really, really thought about what he wanted to add to it, because as a guitar-driven band, it can be quite tricky to be another melodic instrument, putting your kind of like trying to work out where you're going to fit on things.
Without like overplaying and overshadowing the guitar players.
Yeah.
He's really come in and kind of, I don't mean this any kind of derogatory way, but known his place as a keys player, where it's predominantly a guitar-driven band. He's taken that fully on board, but not just sat back and laid down a pad. He's really, you know, like you said, he's studied it.
Yeah, and
we couldn't have asked for more. He's only been in the band less than a year.
And his, you know, and the moments that he does shine on the record, he really shines. You know what I mean? Which is great. So we're very, very, very lucky to have kind of had this really smooth transition. And just as a unit, as a group of guys, we all really, really get on with each other, and we love being in each other's company, and we love hitting the road and doing, like, this is a live band predominantly, and being in that environment, you know, we're cracking jokes and we're having fun, and that's all that really matters, you know.
Well, I think you've all had a chance to shine on the album as well, haven't you? Let's talk about the current single, the third single, Ride or Die. Now, this opens the album, and it has that really anthemic, almost like a call to action right off the bat. Why did you think that would be a good opener to the album? What statement does it make?
That's a great question. I think, like, funnily enough, that was I wrote that song right at the end of the writing sessions that I was doing. We'd kind of had a load of songs, and we were looking for kind of, you know, B-sides and bonus content that we were going to put on the record, and stuff that we were going to release, you know, sort of on limited edition sort of formats of the record. And I just remember showing it to the guys and being like, this has got such a sass and a groove. And when we kind of put it towards put it to management and the label, everybody was like, oh, right, okay, that is a huge contender to open the record. So it's interesting how, first of all, something like that can come right at the end of the kind of whole process. And we were sort of wrapping things up, and it obviously ended up being a single, and also the sort of opening track. I think that song, again, it's slightly different territory. It's still got that sass and that kind of groove. It's still got that big kind of female vocal in the chorus as well. I think what's quite different for us is how we kind of really laid it back in the verses with that song, and it opens the album in a different way than we've done before. A lot of people open it with this big kind of like sucker punch, big track, and it's kind of leads you in to it in a different way. And I think that
it sounds so cool when you put that album on vinyl. As soon as you put that needle down, there's that crackle, and it comes in with that first note. It just sounds like it was meant to be.
So really,
also,
like,
just on a quick, this wasn't a compliment to Henry. Sometimes I don't think he realises how good some of the songs are he's written, like that one, for instance, which he held back. He did the same thing on the last album with See You Again, which, it was just played, and I said, why is this not on the album? Oh, do you think it's good? Yeah, like, and that's the same with Ride or Die. I think you've got a tendency to like not believe how good some of the songs are, and then it comes together. Even though Henry and I are obviously the only original members, it's still got that calmer effect once it comes together. It turns into something new, doesn't it?
Of course. Now, you've had two previous singles, Waiting for a Miracle and Dangerous Love. How do you feel that they paved the way for the album release? Were they kind of telling a story?
I think so. Waiting on a Miracle was the first song I wrote for this album, and I must have written it or had the demo kind of lying around on my computer and the parts for it. Probably when we were still doing the Promised Land sort of touring cycle. And I said to myself when I wrote that, I went, that is a really good song, and that's going to be the first single off our next album. And I believe that song, the reason why we led with that song, and I did really push for it, and I think there was an element of people wanting to go for, like, it was a toss-up between Dangerous Love and Ride or Die or Waiting on a Miracle, and I just felt like that song encapsulates everything that the Karma Effect is and everything that we wanted it to be for this album. It's got the riffs, it's got the vocal hook, it's got the horns, it's, there's elements of that kind of early, like late 80s, early 90s Aerosmith. There's a bit of Little Angels in there as well. And it's got some almost kind of country licks as well in there. It kind of, for me, encapsulates our sound, and I really pushed for that song. It's still my favourite song on the album.
Okay.
And then obviously, but it was a toss-up between that and Dangerous Love, which is...
it's a nice problem to have.
It is, and I also believe as well that this song, this album is also made up of, like, every song could have been a single, and you have to choose certain ones because of radio play and time and track lengths and things like that. But a lot of the guys, their favourite songs are not singles and things like that. It's just about what's going to be best, to kind of showcase for your album. And I believe that one was the one we wanted to go for. I think Dangerous Love it's a fantastic song. We just didn't want to lead with something that was too dark in its approach, and Dangerous Love is a little bit darker in its approach and a bit heavier. I think we wanted to have something that was that kind of feel-good anthem of the sort of summer, which is what we're going into now.
Well, absolutely, and that leads beautifully on to my next question, because I think a lot of the music on the record is very joyful and uplifting. It has sunshine in it to me. And, it's the sort of album which is great for this heat wave that's coming, where, you want to be in the car, you want to wind the windows down and crank up the stereo. And I just think that when there's so much kind of doom and gloom in the world, I was wondering, did you feel like you intentionally wanted to be a kind of antidote to that and spread some kind of light and joy?
I think, and it's just the way we feel about the Karma Effect. We're here to make feel-good music and to have a little bit of escapism and things like that. We want our music to be something you put on at a party, or you put on while you're making a nice dinner, or I don't know, whatever. We want something that is like you can like escape to. It's something that is,
takes you out of your existence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there is a fantastic thing to be said for bands that go down the kind of political route and all of that. There is a place for it, but this band is not that. This band is definitely, we want people to turn the music up and have a good time and feel that energy, because that's how we felt making it. Wouldn't you say?
I think it's a very kind of inclusive album. It's one of those albums where, like you said, it does just make you want to sit in a car with the windows down, with the sun blaring, which in England is not very often. But
I think your timing is good.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. But I think for us, it makes us feel good. And if it can make us feel good, then that's going to come across to our audience.
Of course.
Which we saw firsthand at our album release show on Friday.
Yeah.
It went down well.
Awesome. So, Henry, I just want to talk about your voice now, because I really do have to compliment you. You have an incredible voice. And I was just wondering, is there a temptation to always go at, kind of full blast rather than sometimes just dial it down a bit?
I mean, I guess there's two kind of answers to that question. Sometimes I just can't help it, because especially live, and I've had this with our manager. He said to me before, he's like you have a tendency live to just go for it and then change things in certain places. I don't want to say show off, because I don't think I'm trying to do that, but I just get so into what we're doing that I can't help it, and I love it, and I absolutely love it. But I also am very much I much prefer performing live than I do in the studio. In the studio, I really feel like I have to feel quite comfortable and able to access that part of my voice, I guess. And that's why it was so fantastic working with Michael Charman again on this album, is he knows how to get that from me. He knows when it's singing time and when it's not singing time. And he's,
for you particularly, is late at night.
Yes,
you record all the vocals late at night.
I like, I use the day as a warm-up, and you're chatting, you're doing things, you're using your voice all day. By the time you get to that later part of the evening, that's when you feel like it's the most kind of oiled and you're ready to go. And that's why also, when we play live in the evening, it's the same thing. I'm not one for massive vocal warm-ups. I'm not a vision of health when it comes to things like that. But it works for me.
Now, you guys, you have stated that you want to be a stadium band.
That'd be nice.
Well, it's good to think big. And do you write the songs thinking of how they're going to sound to an audience of that kind of size?
Well, yeah. I think more so in terms of our live performances, we've always come at it with the view on, we are going to give a stadium show, whether it's in a room no bigger than this or in front of a stadium, which as of yet we've not been lucky enough to do, but we're going to give that show to whatever size venue we're doing. So I believe that, particularly as the main songwriter, Henry, you could probably elaborate on how you come at it.
I think with the style of music that we play, and with the kind of band the bands we love, and the kind of the style of music that we play, really, I think that it does lend itself to a big room and a big audience. I know we thrive off that. That makes us want to be better and play better and write better songs. And as Robbie said, everything that we do, we approach our live show like a show. It's not a gig. It's you're going to see a proper show. It's got segues, it's got solos, it's got lighting cues, it's got all of those things that we do sit there in rehearsals and pre-production and go, how are we going to give that with the budget that we've got and the time we've got? How can we do that? And
a lot of time and expense and working on those blackouts that we are doing ourselves for now on stage. Tom's got foot pedals but eventually we're planning for that, I can see it in a big room, hit those points and blackouts and big choruses and big guitar solos. Everything's big.
I kind of think as well, you know, like there's no, go big or go home. Some people are doing the whole minimalist thing. I'm like, nah, whatever, we go big or go home.
So as we kind of start to move towards the end of this section of the live stream, just really, what would you say you're most proud about Cruel Intentions?
I think, for me, I am most proud of the songs on this record, and I think I challenged myself as a songwriter. I think the band in general challenged themselves with their playing and their ability. Everything we did, to me personally, seems like just a little bit of a step up, and the sound of this record, working with Mikey and then of course Ramesh as well, who mixed the record, it just sonically is bigger and better than we've kind of done before, and I'm really proud of it. I'm proud that, you know, through what was quite a difficult year last year, we managed to come out of this with a killer album and a bigger and better, stronger band as well. That's what I believe. What about you, Rob?
I think for me, it's the first of our 3 albums where I really pushed myself and my guitar playing, and I hope people can agree with this, that comes through. I think I've been able to show my ability the most so far in terms of guitar playing. Also, I would like to say how proud I am of the band, because obviously we had a couple of members leave, and we kind of came to a crossroads where we thought, you know, we're not going to let this stop, but how do we keep this going? So we managed to get in some great guys, and it's almost been seamless, and that the Karma Effect train has just kept, you know,
kept rolling,
pounding away.
Yeah.
Now, we should just mention there are live dates coming up at some point in the not too distant future.
Yeah, so we've got shows kind of all throughout the summer. We're playing with Jared James Nichols in London in a couple of weeks, which will be amazing, at the Lexington. I think after that we go to France. We've got a festival over in France, and then a number of kind of regional festivals here in the UK, sort of like all-day band fest, things like that. And then we're hoping that at the end of the campaign next year, we'll kind of hit on some of those bigger festivals like Stone Dead and Steelhouse, Made of Stone, which we've been really fortunate enough to do in the past. And then, we'll hopefully just be hitting the road on a UK tour as well.
Awesome. Watch this space.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys. That's the first part of the live stream. Right now we are going to go to an acoustic performance. It's Ride or Die.
Should we give it a go? Yeah. It's good. Okay. All right. This is unrehearsed. So we've just picked this record up now, Rob. We've got to get it right. Ready? 1, 2. We're gonna ride or die. I'm gonna take you to the end of the line. We're gonna take our time. It only takes one night to leave the world behind. 2, 3, 4.
Gibson Artist Lounge in London.
Thank you very much.
Incredible. Gosh, I was like 2 feet away and it was...
You got it right in the ear.
Wow, it was incredible. Congratulations, guys. That sounded absolutely awesome. Now, we're just going to wind up the live stream with some questions from the fans. So there's one for you, Robbie.
Thank you.
And you're going to read them out.
Okay. Do you wanna go first?
Which side is that? Paul?
Yeah, go on. Here we go.
So we have got a question here from Paul Dolan. If you weren't in a band, what other dreams would you be chasing? That is a very hard one, Paul, because I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, yeah.
That has always been it.
I quite fancy being a pro golfer. I think they make a lot of money as well, so I'd give that a go. But apart from that, no, I'd rather be doing this. There's nothing as cool as doing this.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely just...
Yeah, sorry, Paul, very boring answer. But, there's
just rock and roll.
There's nothing else.
Okay, right, Keith McAllister.
I thought that said Kevin McAllister.
Home Alone. Keith McAllister, why do you think rock and roll will never die? Well, that's because we're here to keep it alive, aren't we?
We're here to keep it alive, but then there's so many other people who are still doing the same thing. It's just something so real. I don't mean to speak down on any other genres of music. I enjoy other genres of music. But I think with rock and roll, there's something so real. You know, as you've just seen, two guys sat here with what are effectively pieces of wood with bits of metal wire on them, and we've managed to, entertain you all. I think that's... It doesn't...
So we think.
Well, yeah, the comments may say otherwise, but I don't think it gets more real than rock and roll.
I definitely think it's the most inclusive form of music as well that we have in today's society. You go to a rock show and you might be stood next to someone that you will never ever see ever again, and you might
have your arms around them, singing the words to that.
You might just bond over something. I think a great example of that, I will just say, a great example of that was the Aussie tribute, the Back to the Beginning gig. Yeah. Just like everybody there for one reason, and that community. So I think rock and roll, it's not only the best genre.
I think as well, this may be quite 2 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, and we played in the small venue downstairs, and the room was packed, full of people who probably never knew each other, but they were all there for the same reason, which was rock and roll. Very honoured to say they were there to see us, and it was nice to see that
people come up from like Isle of Wight. People have come down from Manchester for it, and you're just like, what?
2 p.m. on a Thursday, quite realistically, no one was going to be there, but they were all there, keeping rock and roll alive. Keith.
All right, Rob, you read the next one then, come on then.
Adam Lane has got a question for us. What are the key ingredients that make a great album? Hops, barley,
whiskey. Yeah. No, so I think the key ingredient is having a tight band. So a bunch of guys that you have great chemistry with. I do believe you need you need someone to kind of like a primary writer, but you also, or you need a number of people that come up with some fantastic ideas, and you just need people that are able to add to those as well. That's what I personally think. What about you?
Yeah, I think for me there's something so inspiring still about just once the songs are all there, getting into a studio, a hot studio, the heat being provided by a valve amp, which is cooking, normally a Les Paul going through it. That to me is what inspires me to play the guitar the way I do on an album anyway. I'm just speaking for myself there, but
I completely agree.
There's something so almost
animalistic.
It's like in a lot of other ways it would be antiquated, the technology that we're using. There's no other. You don't sit and wait for your TV valves to warm up still, do you? But we still do that with guitar amps.
I also just think as well, like most importantly is just you can't really do anything without like musicians that are all incredibly like talented as well, because that makes great songs and people that inspire you. Being around people that inspire you is what I would say.
So without not blowing smoke, because I've known him long enough, but
I'm amazing. No,
don't ever tell him that. No, but having a songwriter like Henry inspires me as a guitar player to don't tell him. Inspires me to push myself. And
Thank
I think
you.
I'll probably speak on behalf of the other guys as well.
Okay, should we do? Oh, what's been one of the weirdest? What's been one of the weirdest moments in your life?
Being in the Karma Effect is one continuous weird.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty weird. Being in a touring rock band is pretty weird because you have to get used to a lot of weird things. But
maybe we just leave it there.
But yeah, I mean, just being around people for extended periods of time. Okay, what about this one? Who is your ultimate music idol? This is from Lynn Chaplin. Who is your ultimate music idol and why?
You go first.
I think for me, vocally, musically, it would be. It's got to be Freddie Mercury. I think he had it all. And he's just like I guess without him and without Queen, I wouldn't have got into music. So I don't think I can really say anything else other than I can't really choose anybody else. There are some amazing people: Steven Tyler, Lenny Kravitz, Robert Plant, whoever, Phil Lynott. But I think for me it's got to be Freddie.
We were lucky enough. Was it 2 years ago? We saw Black Crows in London. And they had a special guest, Steven Tyler, and that was the definition for me of seeing an idol, just someone who had such a presence walking out on that stage.
He walked out in he was in flip flops,
sketches,
something like that. You're like, it's just still so cool.
For me, I idolise the old school blues guys. Like when you look at these mountainous men like Albert King. Albert King played the guitar with a pipe hanging out of his mouth. Like that to me, that is.
You're one step away.
Well, I just need the pipe. Someone like that who can just be so effortlessly cool. Albert King, I think, is one of my idols.
Okay, right. We got one more. This is from. Do you want to read it? It's from Julie Bryant at the bottom.
This is from Julie Bryant, and Julie says, "If you could only wear another musician's clothes for the rest of your life, whose wardrobe would you want?"
Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
I think that dude. I mean, he's like 60 now, or he's like 60, and he doesn't look a day over 21.
Yeah, I mean, I recently watched that. What's that tour of Japan Aerosmith did when the tsunami hit?
Oh yeah, that is good. Under the Rising Sun.
At those, like the way that Joe Perry just. Just draped in all of these things.
So Steven Tyler said once, he said something like, "Do you know how expensive it is to dress this cheap, to look this bad?" So there you go. It would be a toss up between Steven Tyler and Lenny Kravitz or Joe Perry. Yeah. So there you go.
Cool. Well, great questions there from the fans. That's awesome. So just as we conclude this, we want to thank everybody for joining us here on the live stream. Have you got a message for the fans who are watching now?
Yes. Well, first of all, just thank you so much for all of your support. It really does mean the world to us, being able to do this and being here. I want to say thank you, obviously, to the guys at Gibson, Ben, who sat over there, for having us and setting all of this up. Thank you so much. But also, I just want to say, if you haven't got a copy of Cruel Intentions, we are really, really, really trying to, fulfill our dream of having another top 20 album and an album in the top 10 rock chart as well. And that's what's going to keep rock and roll alive. Exactly. Nothing derogatory to anyone like Drake, but you've sold enough albums already. So
if you want to help us keep rock and roll alive, as much as it may sound like we're begging.
So we just think like if you just buy a download, you know, it's $4.99. If you can spare $4.99 to buy a download for us, you're going to get a really great album, and you're going to get to listen to Robbie Blake wail on the guitar, which in my opinion is good enough in itself. Ben thinks so too. And yeah, they're great songs. It's a great album. We've got a fantastic team behind us. But you guys, our fans, thank you so much for all the support. And yeah, thank you for buying a vinyl and a CD or a bundle, anything that you've done. But yeah, if you haven't already and you want to really help us out, just grab a download or grab a copy of the record in whichever way you want and put it in your record collection, because it's a good album.
And then crank it up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So that is Cruel Intentions, the new album from the Karma Effect. I just want to say thank you to Earache Records and you guys for asking me to host this live stream.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come and do it. Thank you so much.
It's been such fun, and we
We're
also
rock stars now. We've been interviewed by yourself.
You're too kind. And also, we just to reiterate your thanks to Gibson for allowing us to use the Gibson Artist Lounge here in London. So it's absolutely awesome. I've had so much fun. I hope everybody viewing has as well. We are signing off now, and thank you so much for being part of this really celebratory live stream for the Karma Effect. Bye.